Hey guys, welcome to Shop Talk with Blue Rock Custom Tackle. Today we're going to talk about some jigs, in particular the ones we carry, so stick with us and let's take a look at them here. Alright guys, first jig we're going to talk about is the Fury flipping jig. It's our kind of all-purpose brush and structure jig. Anytime I'm going to be throwing this, it's going to be year-round for me. In the early spring I'll start with a 1/4 ounce compact jig. Anytime I'm going to be flipping and pitching brush or wood, rock, up tight to the bank, 4 foot or less in that muddy stained water, this is going to be kind of your all-purpose jig. It's got a good, not a heavy but a medium heavy weed guard, and obviously you can see there, this has our new trash chunk on it, which is probably my favorite trailer in the early spring. These come with a wire tied skirt. They're really solid jigs. None of that's ever going anywhere. You can catch multiple fish on that. As far as colors go, we stock 8 different colors in this, so I always get this one out because it's my favorite color. That's Army Green Pumpkin. It's just a good pumpkin, green pumpkin blend, real natural looking. But we have your a bluegill pattern. We have more of a brown crawl. Like I said, 8 different options. Regular green pumpkin, a couple versions of black and blue. But anytime you're going to be flipping shallow cover and thick brush, this jig's going to come to it really well, and it's probably going to catch you some of your biggest fish of the year. Alright, moving on to our next jig. This is the Triple Threat jig, our most popular jig by far. These come in 2 packs just because they're kind of a small, compact finesse jig. These things they're just great jigs. I can't say enough about them. We had a custom mold made a couple years ago for these, and they've kind of really taken off since, but it's got a nice little leg collar that I can tie that skirt to, and it's got an awesome wire trailer keeper, and then just a real subtle wire weed guard. Very finessey little jig. Catches tons of fish from smallmouth to largemouth to spotted bass. That's how it got its name. They're just good jigs, and they're great jigs that put a limit of fish in the boat for you. Couple of trailers that I like to throw on these are just a straight, like a nasty Ned worm, or one of our little micro chunks. Look just awesome. As far as when I would throw these, so you're talking, micro finesse jig, you can throw these things year round. They're really good in winter and cold water, but going through spring into summer, and especially in the region where we live, kind of in the Midwest, small baits kind of shine. So these little jigs, year round, I have one on the deck, and especially my dad, he usually fishes out of the back of the boat when we're fishing, and he's plucking keepers behind me all day on these little things. It's about all he throws anymore. So great little jigs. Can't say enough about them. I'm super happy with the way they all turned out, and a lot of people really seem to like them. Okay guys, moving on to the swim jig technique. We sell a pretty solid swim jig. It's wire tied like all the rest of our jigs. It's got a very nice wire trailer keeper, so it really locks in that trailer, because a lot of times when you're fishing a swim jig, you're snapping it and popping it through grass, so it's really important to lock that trailer on there. As far as swim jig techniques, there's a couple different ways people fish them. A lot of guys will fish them like a spinnerbait and throw a swim bait trailer like we have on there. It's our 3.2 inch swimmer. Other guys will just throw like a regular chunk on it, and throwing it around cover, around partially submerged grass. Great bait, kind of late spring, clear into summer, and even the rest of the year, guys catch them on swim jigs. Sometimes it's that little difference when the fish have seen too many spinner baits, too many chatter baits. Sometimes a swim jig coming through there with just a subtle chunk trailer behind it, kind of sashaying through the cover, just gets bites. So one of our new trash chunks teamed up on the back of that swim jig is a great combo, and we have these in pretty much every color to match our swim jigs. We've even got white ones coming, so it's going to be a great technique. Another big fish power fishing technique. When you want to cover some water, you lock a swim jig in your hand, regardless of the brand. Use what you're confident in. We're just kind of trying to help you get an idea of like when to use these techniques, and just using, you know, our tackle as an example to show you. So there's our swim jigs. Check them out. They're pretty solid. Moving on, we got our scrapper bullhead finesse jig, guys. This jig's going to kind of fall under the same category as the triple threat jig, but it definitely has its place and has its differences. So the scrapper ball comes clear up to 1/2 ounce. So number one, you can fish it out a little deeper. It's a tiny bit bigger, and you can throw one of our little chaw crawls on there. That's a 3.2 inch, just a compact crawl trailer, and it looks killer on that scrapper ball. But it's got the wire tied skirt, a good trailer keeper, and this jig's not going to have the little wire weed guard, so you can actually throw this around in some cover. It's really good like to fish like the outer end of treetops leading out onto points and stuff like that, and then you can kind of drag that jig on out onto gravel flats, or, you know, any kind of, you know, partially deep, maybe some mixed cover, flats and points. That's a great little jig to throw. Good cold water jig, and another jig in this region that's just good year round. Just kind of a beefed up version of the smaller finesse jig, and puts a ton of fish in the boat. Alright guys, the last jig that we carry at this time that we're going to talk about today is the old staple, the old football head jig. This jig I'm going to use strictly offshore fishing. So anytime I get to a point where I get past that depth range of wanting to fish that, you know, partial cover out onto like the subtle points with the scrapper ball, if I'm getting to the point where I'm going to fish 8 feet or deeper, I know I have some offshore rock or any type of offshore structure, I'm going to tie on that football head jig, 3/8 clear up to 3/4 ounce, just whatever gets you to the bottom. And you want to keep that thing in contact with the bottom and drag it through that cover. I like throwing a bigger, beefier trailer on that out in that deeper water, just help those fish find it a little bit better.